Get this man some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
A Blazers podcast.
Welcome back to Get This Man Some Help. Your weekly dose of basketball wisdom from two dads who have been through the ringer, heartbreak to triumph to heartbreak again. And here we are, Sean. A little bit of champagne in your glass, a little bit in mine.
Yeah.
Because Denny Advia had the 5th highest fan total vote in the All-Star voting this year. And I know the All-Star means nothing. And I know that it's all a terrible sham and the game continues to be degraded like the previews for movies where every other thing is an advertisement for Pepsi. But it means something to have one of our own being recognized in this way. And he wasn't a starter in the end, but to get more fan votes than Anthony Edwards, to get more fan votes than Kevin Durant, there's a certain amount of legitimacy there that feels nice. Were you happy to see that?
I was actually, and I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I really don't care much about the All-Star game, and I mean, I think it's this weird thing where, like, because it's an international vote, there's a lot of votes from Israel, and that's fine. It's like when Yao Ming was like an NBA, like a starter, because everyone in China voted for him. And like, okay, cool, that's fine, that's great. Yeah, but it does. People have to talk about him, and I think when you see who's this guy getting more votes than Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, like who is this? Like Portland is now part of the national conversation in a way that we have not been since Dame left. So I'm excited. I think he's a bona fide all-star. I would be at this point. I would be shocked if he was not named as a reserve, especially because they're doing the weird, U.S. versus international format and all that kind of stuff. And he's that when he injured his back against the Knicks, I was there, and the whole arena went quiet. Like he hurt his back and he just ran off the floor. He didn't stop it. He just ran right to the locker room. And everyone was silent. And then to see him come back and just absolutely just beat the brakes off of, I can't remember who they were for the Kings, just came in and just whooped them. And I think, that's what an all-star does. Yeah. It's like we were talking about for 2 seasons. You watch the Blazers and rarely did the Blazers have the best guy on the court, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Those nameless years, we were just trying to figure out who was going to be the best guy on the court. And now the Blazers have the best guy on the court in a lot of these games. And his name's Denny Advia. Yeah.
And honestly, on any given night, it can be him against whoever we play, And that's something that, best guy in the series, best guy in the game, you need that. You need that to be able to progress in this league. And you can't get it done by committee, unfortunately. In the NBA, you need the focal point, and
you need to have at least a couple superstars, and that tracks. If you look at who's gone deep into the playoffs every year, it's not a by committee team. Yeah,
and I went to school in Eugene, Oregon, and didn't get a lot of sun, And every year there was a little bit of sun, a little earlier than you expected it. Maybe you'd get a little glimmer in April, maybe even March. Who knows? Whatever. And you'd get out there, and the entire lawn would be filled with people in their bathing suits, sunbathing in this weak, watery sun because they needed it so bad. So I know that we are a long way from being an actual title contender, but this is our first little bit of sun. It's going to show. It's telling us the summer is coming. Long days, glorious runs. Denny is the first rays coming through, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, and you can see how much we missed him. I think he was gone 2 games, and we got handled by the Warriors.
Yeah, that first
and
game
we got and then he comes back.
And the thing about it is, it's a weird thing, but the Warriors it's a really good matchup for Portland because they don't really have any size. So the Warriors are a team that Portland actually, even though Golden State is objectively a better team, the matchup is so bad for them against the Blazers, or it should be. Like the Blazers should be winning against Golden State.
Well, they were a better team.
Whooped.
They were a better team until Jimmy got hurt. So
hate to see it.
It's tough.
Now with the young guy, the Kaminga, has just gotten real interesting. Real interesting.
Okay, yeah. Let's table that for a second and finish with this Denny stuff because he was gone. We lost, and then you saw him come back against the Kings, right? And the Kings famously this season have been playing us real tough. And we let the rope go in the in the previous matchup. DeRozan went nuts, whatever. So you kind of knew it. Danny went to the bench, and Calabro and Hurt are talking about how maybe he'll be able to rest these last 8 minutes. But then the Kings do Kings things, and so they have to bring Denny off the bench. And it's like Dad coming home. Hey, listen, just wait till your father gets home. He's gonna have a talk to you. And Danny comes in the court and it's like, settle down, everybody.
Yeah.
Papa's coming in.
Yeah,
and we're gonna set
right.
things straight.
Yeah, Daddy's back home. Well, and I mean, one of the things, in fairness to the rest of the guys, Denny has basically assumed the point guard role.
Yeah.
And so to not have, basically when Denny's gone now, and I mean, Drew came back and but he's just back and he's not in shape.
And he's sitting back to backs and
yeah. And so, they effectively don't really have a real point guard without Denny on the team right now, at least until Scoot comes back. I mean, he's their de facto point guard. So he's handling a lot of the responsibilities. Like he is running the team. Like he's the quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver right now on the team. And when he's not there, you can tell the guys it just doesn't flow as well. It just doesn't do the things. And one of the things that I think Denny has started to realize is that because he becomes the center of gravity when he's on the court, he's the center of gravity. But then that makes it easier to kind of let these other guys kind of do their thing. Like you look at I would love to see split stats between like Toumani Camara, like his offensive production with Denny and without Denny. I'm willing to wager it's like a tale of two cities. You know what I mean? Like he seems completely lost without Denny on the court. And just like Donovan Clingan plays so much better offensively. Like there's so many more looks for him when Denny's coming in. Because again, the NBA it's a spread out game now. But the fact still remains, if you can get in the paint and make a good decision once your feet hit the paint, you're probably going to win. And Denny's great at that. Feet in the paint, either I'm taking it or I'm passing it. And you know what I mean? Making stuff happen. And without him, the Blazers there's not another guy on the team who's as good and as proficient at that right now.
Yeah, he gives assists and mini fridges with equal alacracity. Or what? Acracity?
You're the novelist.
Okay. He did that one behind the over the head pass. Oh, it's beautiful.
Just beautiful stuff.
I don't know. It's
Well, you just watch you watch the sort of evolution of what the defenses do when he's on the court. You know what I mean? Like now that everyone's like, oh no, he's the guy. Like he gets 2 or 3 people every play are sort of dedicated. It was like the prime Dame when you got all 5 guys looking at him, and it's amazing what can happen if your guy's turning his head to have to watch another guy. What you can do.
I mean, I said it last time. If you can get people complaining about you, about the calls you're getting or the way you're playing, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. They all complained about Steph when he started doing the different 3-point stuff. That's not basketball. They started to complain about Harden's step back thing. That's not basketball. Whatever. And Steph was complaining the other night because Colin Sexton was following him off the court and around the bend. And he didn't like that. That wasn't basketball. But I guess I think there's a very good chance that we're gonna look back at this stretch in a season or a couple seasons and say, forcing Denny into that facilitator role really was a catalyst for him to become a special player, because it is forcing him to use a muscle that he maybe didn't have to use before. And when you can start to you plug in other players who have that connective tissue in them, you get Drew on the floor, you get Dame on the floor, you get these other players who understand the game at that high level, you're going to start to really cook.
I think. Well, and also I think one of the things that I think
Acracity.
You can tell we are not a podcast supported by ChatGPT. We are just 2 bumbling idiots trying to figure out how words work, which is part of the charm.
Yeah.
The thing about Denny takes so much attention, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, it's not a criticism, but you also you kind of lose how much the other guys are developing around him. Because Shaedon Sharpe is getting much more aggressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if Denny weren't in the picture, the story would be Shaedon Sharpe is now like blossoming into, like Denny's superstar level entering into, Shaedon is getting into like star level. You know what I mean? Like he's finally becoming like a bona fide, like he's the bona fide number 2 guy. The rookies, the Blazers actually have a real hard decision coming up, because they've got two-way players that they're going to have to offer contracts to.
They
that's Sidy Cissoko, who has always shown signs of getting it. But now that he's starting games and playing well, like kind of stepping into that sort of Toumani Camara role. You know what I mean? And he may be a better offensive player than Toumani is, to be honest.
Yeah,
when he starts letting loose, he makes good decisions. He's a great passer, great facilitator, outstanding defender. And then our guy, Caleb Labro's guy, Caleb Love.
Down, Kevin. Save that for home. Save that for your bedroom.
Just risque, really.
Actually, we do have to rate this podcast and it, whatever, not safe for kids, just because of Kevin Calabro saying Caleb Love.
Just lustful, really.
Just
gotta calm it down. Even
Lamar is like licking his lips before he says it.
Yeah. You can see he's
he's got the breath. We got the what is that?
He's really going to town. But no, I mean Caleb Love is his game is he's and Thiago Splitter said this at the beginning of the season. Like he's got the skills. We just have to teach him moderation. We have to teach him. He doesn't have. Caleb Love is like the guy who shows up to the weekly basketball game, but only shows up like once every 5 or 6 weeks, and he's just going to shoot because he doesn't. He never knows when he's going to get to shoot again. So I'm just gonna fire away because you never know. You never know when it's going to come back around my way.
Smoke him if you got him.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's tempered down. His ability to sort of play the two-man game with Shaedon Sharpe is really crazy. Like they have really gelled in a way that poor Scoot. You gotta maybe feel a little like, hey man, like that's my girl. Hey, what are we doing here? But I mean, Caleb Love is putting up bona fide. Like if he had played this well since the beginning of the season, he would be like rookie of the year conversation. I'm not saying anyone's but Cooper Flagg's gonna win. But it's kind of like when Wemby was, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, he's clearly going to win, but at least you're in the conversation too. Like he's an all rookie team guy now.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, a friend of the program, Ben, sent me a link to an article about Caleb Love from 2 years ago, where he went to Damian's very first elite camp or whatever. And in the interview, he's talking about how Dame's his favorite player and he models his game after that. And you just got to imagine you get drafted into a situation where Dame is on the bench and all Dame has is time. He just got time. He just only has time, right? And he's like, here, let me help you. I'm going to help you. I guarantee you he's helping with his shot. He's helping with his decision making. He's like, okay, listen, Shaden can jump high, so why don't you pass it up there and he'll go get it. Oh, okay, yeah, great.
Well, it's also just sort of constantly be in his ear in real time, just sort of explaining what he needs to do. And but one thing I guess the way the math plays, because Caleb Love played in college forever.
And, 4 years.
So he's like 24.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's actually kind of one of the older young guys. You know what I mean? And so
quick aside on that. Do you think that as a 24-year-old that the rookie hazing hits different for him? They're like, hey, go get us donuts. He's like, come on, guys, like.
I have a degree.
I'm older than you. I have an advanced degree. Yeah,
like Toumani, you're a vet. Please, please. Like, I think it maybe does. He's got to be a little resentful, getting like with what's his name, Yang.
Yeah,
he looks like a kid. He looks like a high school kid.
Of course you're gonna go get it. Why are you lumping me with him? Yeah. Do you think did Dame make him dance at the fan fest? Caleb's like, dude. I have to go like officiate a wedding later. Like I don't know what you're doing. Like,
I'm old. A third-year senior, man.
Yeah. But so the funny thing is okay. There's two things that you touched on. I want to go back to. First of all, the Sissoko. I mean, Caleb Love. All the love for Caleb. The Sissoko thing is really interesting to me because a couple games back, Toumani had this post game interview where Brooke was like, what do you see in Cissoko? And he's like, I see myself a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's like, oh my God, like this is scary. And I saw on some social media trash site, they're the modern day Bash Brothers from the Mighty Ducks beloved movie, the Mighty Ducks. They're coming. Sure. So you have these like the who is it? The Rockets have the Terror Twins. We could have the Bash Brothers. He is utterly fearless. He is kind of has a little bit of that Dylan Brooks energy where if he's not playing for you, you would absolutely hate to play
Yes,
against him. Like,
100%.
he's such an irritant. And
100%.
his 3-point shot is, I don't know what the numbers bear out, but just anecdotally and just how it looks, how confidently he's stepping into it, it feels good. I mean, they might have found somebody, and it does raise an interesting question just in terms of roster spots. And at a trade deadline where the Blazers might have been more willing to stand pat, they might have to like clear up some room.
Well, I mean, so they're definitely going to have to do a little room. They need a little cap room because I mean, I think that I forget the number, but two-way players, there's a maximum amount of games they can play for the NBA side of the two-way contract before they have to get like a full NBA contract. And I would have to imagine that both Sidy and Caleb are probably approaching that number fairly rapidly. I mean, it could be. I mean, and it would be kind of a terrible thing to do if you're. I think maybe it's like a 50 game.
Yeah, it's 50 games.
50 games.
Yeah,
and it would. I think it would really hurt their development if you just shelved them. Like those are the two guys you don't want to put on the. You want to play them.
Yeah.
So I mean, this makes the trade deadline really interesting for them because you just have just sort of a glut of talent that you probably should be developing, and they're not in a position where one trade's going to elevate them into the upper rung of the playoffs. There's not a championship contender yet, but you got to do something. I guess in this weird sort of way. Because with the new bargaining agreement and everything, like Trae Young got traded basically straight across for CJ McCollum. 2 years ago, if he'd have told me the Hawks were going to trade Trae Young for basically no draft capital, just salary relief, you think, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like John Morant's probably going to get traded, and there may be a swap involved, but no like outright first round draft picks for sure. I mean, the only player on the market that seems like they're going to command like a big haul, maybe Giannis if they trade him, which I can't see them doing that. So I mean, the Blazers are not going to get a lot in return, but at the same time, they don't need to get a lot in return because I mean, they're sitting on a lot of assets that they should probably be developing. I would not want to let, and you always like your toys the best. My stuff is always better, but I would be hard pressed to say we're going to give up on Caleb Love or Sidy Cissoko, or I mean, Chris Murray, okay. I mean, maybe, I guess if you got to throw in the, for salary purposes or whatever, but I mean, I like these guys,
I know.
I like them.
But we also like Trenton Watford, we like we like a lot of,
Jabari.
and Jabari, I mean, it's kind of like, when the friend comes over to visit your kid and your kid's all bummed out because he doesn't want him to play with his favorite toys. You're like, okay, we'll put your favorite toys away. And then they put them away, and then they realize like 4 weeks later the toy's still away, and they haven't thought about the freaking toy that was their favorite toy. It's like sometimes you got to move on. This is a very convoluted metaphor. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But what I'm saying is, I think there is some not hard decisions, like not capital H hard decisions,
right?
But like, like somebody like Robert Williams, like we all love him, but like he is available like 30% of the time, and he could, honestly, like it could be something where you send him to a contender, and he's happy to make a deep playoff run, and he can actually do some stuff, and you never know what we're gonna have to do, but there are some choices there, so it's interesting, and Chris, the thing is I don't know what's going on this season, but everybody who plays, I'm like, wait a second, like when Chris Murray was playing consistently, it was like, wait, we might have something there. He might be turning a corner.
Yeah. Well, because they play hard, right?
Yeah.
And when a guy, even though maybe like your shot's not falling and whatever, but if you're hustling and you're playing hard and you're playing smart, those are things that any winning team has got to have. Those guys, you don't have to score 18 points a game. But you do have to play hard and be there on defense and make the right decisions and not make silly plays and all that kind of stuff. So and also, and I don't want to say this is the end all be all, but I do think it's the guys you want are the guys who are cheering as hard as they play.
Yeah,
and I think the Blazers have a lot of guys who cheer as hard even when they're not in the game. They're engaged in the game, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how they've been able to sort of, and again, this year, this is not a championship team. But even with all the injuries, and they do have, I mean, because I think we talked about this last week. Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, Scoot Henderson, Matisse Thybulle, Blake Wesley.
Yeah.
We're
It's
all
a pretty
gone
good basketball team.
for a long time, and they still managed to hang around the 500 mark. They're still playing.
We're at 500 right now. Yeah.
I just, there's always
they better cut Javonte Cook right now before we fall in love with him, because he's about to just get real good real fast.
Well, I mean, I got some bad news. I don't think Javonte. Again, nothing. I mean, I just, Javonte is probably not quite, NBA full-time NBA ready just yet. But I mean, you just never know. These guys are all just kids. They're also young.
Yeah,
you just never know what they're going to turn into.
So the Shaedon Sharp piece to this, which is how we started off on this whole sidestep, is interesting because what you said is absolutely true. If Denny wasn't having this all-star push, a lot more people would be talking about Shaedon Sharp, who this season is averaging 21.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.6 assists a game. I mean, he's shooting the ball with confidence. He's not letting a few mistakes get him down. He is not a defensive liability anymore, and he's getting steals. He's just been a pleasure to watch. And whereas in the past he's gonna maybe disappear if he has a few mistakes or something, that's just not the case anymore.
No,
I mean, he's averaging over a steal a game. He's averaging 1.5 steals a game. Like he's really exciting, and you always have a higher ceiling than you probably should for your hometown players. But I don't know. I'm starting to get silly thoughts. I'm starting to feel a little silly.
I listen. I have been on the Shaedon Sharp train since I was. I mean, my initial response was, "Who in the blue hell is this kid?" When they drafted him, I was not pleased. I thought, "Oh my God, there's so many safer bets."
When they drafted, that was like our first podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Almost.
And our career is also going that way.
Well, that's true. So
our podcast,
it's, I'm not saying there's causation, but certainly some correlation there. No, I mean, look, he's got all the tools, all the building blocks to be a superstar player in the National Basketball Association. And one of the things
I just had to put it in the Shaedon Sharp music.
No, you have to. You have to do it. This is quality production.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
I mean,
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's fine. What are rules? We don't have to have rules anymore. But no, I mean, he's got and the thing that it's not just you and I saying this; it's the people that he plays with, and plays against. They're like, oh yeah, like the guys who know are like, oh yeah, like he's just a couple of aha moments away from being a real problem, and that has very little to do. It's so weird because like he's doing less. He's had a couple of monster dunks this season. But he's looking for those monster dunks a little less. And I think that that's actually a sign of like maturity. Not only in terms of, is there an easier shot to make, but also in terms of if I'm, going up 50 inches in the air every play in the first quarter, by the fourth quarter, I'm gonna be a little tired. So I'm going to pace myself a little bit. I'm going to take them when they come. But like, his first couple seasons, every time he went, it was I'm yamming on somebody. You know what I mean? Every play. And now he's starting to realize, okay, I'm pacing myself. I'm smoothing out a little bit. Even when he's up there, sometimes he just kind of goes for the safe, safe lane. He still has his moments, like I said, but he's stepping back a little bit. And he's relying more on his his technique. Like his fadeaway is already like S tier. Like it's already like the way he's able to generate the space and the distance, the sort of release point. Like it is one of the prettiest moves in basketball. Even though I know we're not supposed to be taking mid-range shots anymore. You know what I mean? But so
I think it's back.
You're seeing like his 3-point shot is looking very nice, very crispy.
So can you explain what S stands for in S tier?
I did something my son tells me. He's a video game guy. I think it's a video game thing.
Yeah, because I've heard it before, but I don't know what it means.
A.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And it also explains why a lot of kids that are between 14 and 24 can't fucking read. Okay? Because they think S comes before A. And the alphabet, the pandemic really did a number on all of us.
Yeah, I don't like to use Google to answer these questions because it's all AI now. So
It's just
who knows what's real?
He tells me things are
no.
He
But
says
you're right.
that if I cook something really good, he'll say, "Oh, this is S tier," and I'm goddamn right it is.
Then you look away like, what?
Yeah, because at first I was like S tier, that's below F, but then it's the new alphabet. Yeah. S A B C D. And no one gets F anymore anyway, so F is
yeah. Sure. So I mean we've always talked about like the thing from the moment Shaden surprised us all by starting in his rookie year, because whatever, or back, no, not starting, but getting playing time in his rookie year. We're like, oh, the shot looks so pure. Even when it goes in, you think it's going in. The thing that's really impressive, and you nailed it, is like he's not going for those dunks, but his touch in the lay-in package is really special. Like he'll hang up there and he'll do these angles and this finish stuff. Frankly, like stuff that if Scoot had, he would be real dangerous, but Scoot doesn't have that kind of touch.
It's one of those things that every time you watch Russell Westbrook play, like, man, if you just had just a fraction more touch, you would, I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer, and I'm not anti-Russ. I'm pro-Russ most of the time. But
well, that's because you've always rooted against him.
When you can float, it makes it a little easier to kind of like, because he can be in the air and sort of configure, like when you set up for a jump shot, he'll be 34 inches in the air and then like, okay, and then I'll just turn okay, there we go, there's the shot. It's really impressive.
You're pro Russ because you never had to root for him, and he always
that's exactly
gets
right.
him out.
I have never had to be personally frustrated by no, Russ, don't take that 32-footer, and watching it hit so hard it actually cracks the backboard.
He's one of those. I think he'll be a meaningful part of a championship team sometime, but I think it's just taking him like a real long time to learn, like, how do I fit in?
I think he's seems like he's pretty stubborn. Sure. I think that a lot of the things that people have told him, he has not really resonated with him as much as maybe could have. Kind of like Carmelo Anthony was like that too. But I will say this. I was kind of thinking a little bit about this when they were playing Sacramento. Russ is really kind of in... Well, he's sort of treated almost like they treated Rasheed Wallace. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of anti-Rasheed Wallace sentiment, but it never came from his coaches and it never came from his teammates.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, anyone who's ever talked about Rasheed Wallace as a teammate, he was a great... In fact, the criticism of Rasheed Wallace was a little different than the rest. Is Rasheed Wallace was never... He wasn't as aggressive as he should have been. He was always too willing to, like, kind of give up a little bit of himself, which... Russ is not quite... not a lot of people say Russ, was too easy to kind of take out of his game. But I think as he's maturing a little bit and maybe realizing that some of the physical tools, like he's not running quite as hard. You know what I mean? And, I think he's, I'm hopeful that he'll have a nice end chapter to his career.
The Rasheed thing's interesting because it was like, looking back on it now, it's like they were mad at him for being too good of a teammate. And in those years, he had legitimately amazing players on his team with him.
Yeah.
And he was making plays for them and stuff. I mean, I get it. He could have done a little more, but.
Well, so they were talking to the guys. They had like the 2000 team came back and like listening to those guys and being like, when you have like Scottie Pippen, like, of course you're going to be like, okay, whatever you want to do, Scottie. But a lot of those guys are like, when you think about the talent at that position at that time, Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and blah, blah, blah. And all these guys was like, if they were playing one-on-one, Rasheed Wallace beats Tim Duncan one-on-one. He beats Kevin Garnett one-on-one. It's like, really? It's like, oh yeah. like he was so much better than is a sort of individually talented player than what he was on the court because he was so willing to take a back seat and try to get the other guys going and not, do those things where you're taking over the game. So, again, that's where their paths diverge, Rasheed and Russ.
Yeah. Well, one day we'll look back on Caleb Love and we'll think, if only you would have taken more shots. I love Caleb Love. He's a quick release. He's a quick. Okay, quickly before we get off, Kaminga in the most predictable trade demand ever, probably one of the weakest trade demands ever, requested a trade from Golden State. Although maybe this Jimmy Butler thing complicates things because they're actually going to really need. They have a perfectly sized Jonathan Kaminga hole, but he requested a trade. And there has been some speculation, some linkage to the Blazers being interested, and it sort of, if you squint your eyes, it kind of fits that Denny Advia, archetype, where it's a former very highly regarded draft pick who maybe you can rehabilitate. Do you see a role on this team for a Kaminga?
Well, it's tricky. I mean, my concern is, and I'm going to say this, I think that he got kind of a raw deal. I think it is a situation where Steve Kerr does not like him as a player. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a personal thing. I'm just saying clearly as a player, he does not trust or really care for Jonathan Kaminga's play style.
Right.
And I think it was kind of like Steph Curry, right?
Yeah.
Steph Curry would not be Steph Curry if he had not had coaches who would allow him to be Steph Curry, right? Because when Steph Curry was coming into the NBA, there were a lot of coaches who would absolutely keep him on the bench for shooting those dumb shots. You know what I mean? And it took coaches to be like, okay, you know what? You're actually pretty good. Let's let you roll. And so I do think that player and system fit is very important in the NBA. And I think that Jonathan Kaminga, if he'd have been drafted by the Timberwolves or the Pelicans or, another team, I think he would be a legitimate near NBA All-Star player. But it's hard to know because he just never really got, comfortable. And I do worry that because he's so young and he's had this kind of very rough experience, has it kind of poisoned him? You know what I mean? Because his confidence has got to be 23 or whatever. My confidence would be, I would be, I mean, I would just be inconsolable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of a risky gamble, and I'm not blaming him. I think he's a very talented player. He's a very good athlete. And I think in the right situation, he could blossom. I don't know though, if you bring that guy, as it's almost more of an emotional rehabilitation. You know what I mean? You got to kind of kind of turn him back into an NBA player and rebuild his confidence. And I'll ask you this. Right now, as the team is situated, would you trade straight across Jeremy Grant for Jonathan Kaminga?
So
just 1-to-1.
Yeah. No,
Flip the switch.
It's tough. It's tough because I think Jeremy Grant has resigned himself to fitting into the developmental timeline of the rest of the team, and he has been, by all accounts, a consummate professional coming off the bench and having a little bit of a resurgent season. I think what you're talking about with system and fit and situation is so crucial here because Kaminga has shown those sparks of transcendence, like in the playoff last year when they needed him to be great. He was great, and he came in off the bench and he just went bananas, and that's really hard to do for a player. From what I understand, in the NBA, when you have to have rhythm, you have to have consistency. He came in, he went nuts. So I think long story short, I probably would do it because I don't think Grant is a long-term addition to this team. I think Grant wants something more than that, and Kaminga is a 2-year commitment. And, maybe he does turn into the player he was going to be. And then, you'd move Kamara to the bench, right? And you would have this, starting lineup where every single one of them is a legit threat to score outside of Klingon, who can kind of finish up the stuff. And then, you have Kamara come in with the bench unit and clean up stuff or whatever. I think it's a worthy gamble. I think he's a good guy. I think people like him generally when they talk about him. I don't think he'd be like a cancer to the clubhouse or anything.
No. I don't think that at all. No,
would you do it?
Well, so the way I think about it is Jeremy Grant is easily the most desired trade that we could make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty clear that his days are numbered. And I just think, again, in a league where the idea that Jeremy Grant would command a first-round draft pick or multiple first round, that's done. That's not going to happen. And so when you think about what's the opportunity, what's the best thing we could get for Jeremy Grant, the fact that we're kind of like, I guess maybe, I don't know, is kind of one of those things that I just think he's such an unknown. I don't know. Like I said, if they could get him cheap enough, like if they could go straight across Jeremy Grant, I would say I'd probably lean to the side of, make the move, because Jeremy's got to go anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they would probably have to, if memory serves, the Warriors can't take in more than they send out because they're like on the first or second tax apron. So it would probably end up being like Jeremy Grant. It'd be a little more complicated. It probably require like Chris Murray and then like a couple of pieces from Golden State. It would be a little complicated.
But I mean, you could do something where you're cleaning up the roster spot situation for Cissoko and but the thing is, like, I mean, that's also supposing that the Warriors even want to do business with us, because they like, apparently we were like some shady character. But
the funniest thing in the world would be if Gary Payton ended up back in Portland.
Oh my God! Yeah.
The funniest thing in the world.
It's like Gary Payton II and Elon Musk are the two people who I switched my opinion on most harshly in the last like 10 years in terms of just villain turns.
He's there. So you remember Steve Blake?
Oh yeah.
How Portland, like, they loved Steve Blake.
We kept signing him. We just kept bringing him back.
They loved him so much because he was like a boomerang. They would just fling him out there, and he'd come right back. Yeah. When they had the tribute video, it was just him and like waving goodbye and coming back as tribute.
I guess to kind of wrap that up, it is like it's really interesting in terms of just the potential, because there is a world where he pops and he does show, and all of a sudden and that's kind of how you have to do it.
Yeah.
When you're a small market team, you have to find sort of the glitches and the loopholes.
Let me ask you this though. If getting Jonathan Kaminga meant, okay, we assume Jeremy Grant has to be part of that trade, which I think he probably does.
He probably would like it too, honestly.
Well, I mean, he makes sense. Like, he could step into that position in Golden State, and actually, he would improve them. Like, Jeremy Grant would improve Golden State. So I'm not, but if it required Jeremy Grant and Scoot, would you be willing to get rid of Scoot?
No. I still believe in Scoot. I think the last half of last season was so encouraging to me. And we do need a point guard. I know Denny's been great, but we do need a point guard.
We do need a point guard, yeah.
The answer is no.
The
answer is no. And that Caleb Love has been really fun. I want to see it a little more than just half a season. Before I'm like, that's our point guard, And I don't even think Caleb Love is necessarily like a true point guard. Even though he has been, like, as Calabra's been just going nuts about, he has been making point guard plays.
But it also, like, having him on the court with Denny makes a lot of sense, because Denny can handle the main sort of point guard duties, and that lets Caleb Love. I mean, like I said, his passing has improved tenfold since the beginning of the season.
Listen, we don't want to be we don't want to feel what Washington is feeling right now. Watching Scoot go nuts in Golden State. We do not want to be that team. That is how you take a serious step backwards. And listen, the NBA goes through these cycles, I feel like, where everybody overpays and then underpays. Yeah. Right now we're in an underpay situation. We're in an underpay season in the NBA, where Trae Young's getting traded straight across for Sidy and McCollum. No picks involved. Where John Morant might go somewhere with no picks involved.
Yeah.
This is the chance to get into the supermarket and buy the dented can of beans.
Yeah.
And you know what? You get out and the beans are still good. Maybe you open it up and they're bad, but you don't know. You got it for cheap, all right? So let's go get some cheap stuff without giving up cheap stuff.
Yeah, I think that's this whole thing. And if you're a lifelong Blazer fan, and you're also old as black pepper, and I'm both of those. You look at this sort of wealth of talent, and it really makes me. I was for Christmas as sort of a gag gift. Our friend Joe got me this Randolph Childress.
Oh, there you go.
And do you remember, I think it was the 95 draft. Do you remember this draft year?
No, because I'm young.
Well, because you're a young spry man.
I'm a young person.
So,
yeah.
In the sort of
in
1985, the Blazers had dissolved the sort of Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter Blazers were kind of, but they ended up with, I want to say, maybe 3 or 4 first-round draft picks that year.
Mm.
And it was one of the weakest drafts in NBA history.
Yeah.
And so we had like this sort of wealth of assets. And I'll have to check this. I probably should check this before I start talking about it. But if memory serves, they ended up with Randolph Childress, Sean Respert, and Gary Trent Sr. as their three building blocks.
Rich.
Yes. Yeah. That was supposed to be one of that was gonna the foundation of this new team. And that did not work out well. And that was the great part about that, though. There wasn't any of the promise of like the Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, Lamar. No, this was just like immediately.
Yeah, we just knew. Yeah. Yeah. Let's reassess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So seeing this team and having all these young guys who just have, I mean, you just don't know how good they could be, Yeah. And I guess that's the thing about any young prospect. But like I said, we knew Randolph Childress was not going to be that. We knew Sean Respert was not going to be that great.
I would love to be, because the Blazers have 4 days off right now, which is great because they're gonna, everybody's gonna heal. Denny's gonna get some rest, but that means they're actually gonna practice, right? They're actually gonna have scrimmages and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think, first of all, NBA teams famously these days don't actually practice during the season because they're just going from game to game to rest to rest. But just like you're saying, there's so much talent here. I bet those scrimmages are really fun.
Oh, yeah. And again, because everyone's feeling it. Like everyone's got the tingle. Everyone's got the we're really doing something. We're really doing something. We're really
stop doing that.
We're really a part of something. And so when you have that and you kind of know like everyone's kind of in their bag, everyone's kind of feeling good. Yeah, those scrimmages have got to be just a lot of fun. And they're going at each other too.
When you finally make your
interview Drew Holiday sometimes, and he'll be like, "Whew," like, oh my back, like, oh man, those guys, these kids. Oh.
When you finally make your return to pick up basketball, we're just gonna be doing this to you. Let's get your tinkle.
The problem is, unlike an NBA player, it's going to take me weeks to be able to make a shot.
Well, also a tingle could mean back failure or
it's called sciatica. Spell that.
All right, we got to go. We have other things to do.
Sciatica.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks as always to Puma Distortion. We'll see you next week. This is Get This Man Some Help.
Cue the music.
Get this man some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
A Blazers podcast.